Dear students, today I am going to start a new lecture series on classical mechanics, and here I will discuss mainly the questions and answers of CSR net previous year questions. Okay, so in this video I will discuss about the solution of the question asked in CSR net 2011 June exam. Okay, so let me solve the question. So today our topic of discussion is classical mechanics. Okay, classical mechanics, and the questions are on CSR net 2011 June. Okay, so let me see the first question. So here is the question, and the question is: a particle of unit mass moves in a potential v of x is equal to ax square plus b by x square, where a and b are positive constants. The angular frequency of small oscillations about the minimum of the potential is. So here we have to find out the angular frequency of small oscillation about the point of minimum potential. Okay, where the potential is minimum, that is about the stable equilibrium point, and always the oscillation takes place about the stable equilibrium point. So it is obvious that we have to find out the minimum point first. Okay, when we are asked to find out the angular frequency, we must have to find out the minimum point, because only about the minimum point, that is about the stable equilibrium point, the oscillation is occurred. So we have to first find out the value of x for which v of x is minimum. How can we find? So we have to take the first derivative of v of x. Okay, so here v of x is equal to ax square plus b by x square. So this is the fundamental rule of calculus, that any function, to find out the minimum or maximum of any function, we have to make first derivative and then equal to 0. So if we take the first derivative of v of x, we will get dv over dx is equal to twice ax plus differentiation of 1 by x square is minus 2 by x cube. So it will be minus 2b by x cube, and that we have to set equal to 0. So if say that if we can say that at x is equal to x0 is the minimum point, then twice a x0 minus twice b divided by x0 cube will must be equal to 0, which implies that a x0 2 will be cancelled out. So a x0 is equal to b by x0 cube. That means x0 to the power 4 is equal to b by a, or you can say x0 is equal to b by a to the power 1 by 4. Okay, so this is the point. Now we have to find out the angular frequency, that is omega. Okay, now to find out omega, we have to find out the force constant k, because there is a relation between k and omega, and we know from the theory of small oscillation that the force constant k is equal to d2v dx2, second derivative of the potential, about the point of stable equilibrium, that is at x equal to x naught. So we can find out this easily, that is the second derivative of dv by dx. From here, the second derivative, this is the first derivative of dv by dx, so the second derivative will be twice a minus here 2 by x cube. So 1 by x cube, differentiation of 1 by x cube is minus 3 by x to the power 4. So minus minus will be plus. So it will be 6b divided by x to the power 4, and at x equal to x0 it will be x0 to the power 4, and that will be 2a plus 6b divided by x0 to the power 4 is b by a. So it will be b by a, and b will be cancelled out. So it will be 2a plus 6a. Okay, so we can find that k is equal to 8a. Okay, so the force constant k is nothing but 8a, but there is a relation between force constant k and omega. Okay, which is m omega square is equal to k. That means omega square is equal to k divided by m, but here in this problem the mass of the particle is unit, that is m is equal to 1. So if m is equal to 1, then omega square will be equal to k. So omega will be root k, and here k is nothing but root 8, so 8a, so it will be 8a. So the angular frequency omega will be root 8a. Okay, so B will be the answer. So this is the process that you can follow to solve this type of problem. Okay, when we have to find out the angular frequency or force constant, and we are given the potential as a function of x. You can follow this process. Okay, and let me solve the next question. So here is the question. Okay, the acceleration due to gravity g on the surface of earth is approximately 2.6 times on that of the surface of Mars. Okay, so acceleration due to gravity on the earth's surface, that is we can represent it as ge, okay, for earth, is approximately 2.6 times that on the surface of Mars. So if the acceleration due to gravity on Mars is gm, so it is given that ge is equal to 2.6 into gm. Okay, so this is our equation 1. And the another condition is given that the radius of the Mars, that is if we denote the radius of the Mars as rm, okay, is about 1/2 of the radius of the earth, that is re. Okay, these two conditions are given, and we are asked to find out the ratio of the escape velocity on earth to that of Mars. Okay, so what is the expression of escape velocity that we know? That v is equal to root twice gr. This is the general expression of the escape velocity. Now if we talk about the escape velocity of earth, then it will be root twice ge into re. Similarly, if we talk about the escape velocity of Mars, then it will be vm is equal to root twice gm into rm. Now if we want to find the ratio, then we have just divided this two equation, that is ve divided by vm, that will be root twice ge into re divided by twice gm into rm. So it will be root ge divided by gm into gm into re divided by rm. Okay, now what is the ge divided by gm? From this expression we will get ge divided by gm is equal to 2.6, and from this expression we will get re divided by rm is equal to 2. Okay, so it will be root 2.6 into 2, that will be root 5.2, and root 5.2 is the value of root 5.2 will be I think root 5.2. okay, root 5.2 is equal to 2.28. okay, 2.28. so it can be approximately take as 2.3. so C will be the answer. Okay, now let's move to the next question. Here is the question, and the question is the Hamiltonian of a system with n degrees of freedom is given by h as q1 to qn, p1 to pn, and t. This is basically nothing but h, which is we know simply pi, qy, and t. Okay, function of p, q, and t we know. Generally we written in terms of I, but here given that 1 to n, I basically goes from 1 to n. Okay, so this is nothing but the h, p, q, t with an explicit dependence on the time, of course. Now which of the following is correct? Let me see the statement. This is the basic question actually from direct consequences of the theory part. So here the first statement is different phase trajectories cannot intersect each other. Okay, different phase trajectories cannot intersect each other. Let me see other options also to be, then I will discuss. And the B is I have taken this statement. Okay, it can be, okay. But we have to as this is a single answer type question, we have to take the most correct answer or the most appropriate answer, okay. So let me see the other options. Option B is H always represents the total energy of a system and is a constant of motion. So this expression is, this statement is always not correct. Here H always represents the total energy. We know H total energy, that is T plus V, we know. But this is only for holonomic system. Only for holonomic system. For non-holonomic system this is not correct, or any other cases this is not correct. So this is the ideal case, that H always represents total energy. So this word, this is always, this is not correct. So H always represents the total energy of the system and is constant of motion is not correct, okay. So this B will not be the answer. And the equations Qi dot is equal to del H del Pi and Pi dot is equal to minus del H del K are not valid since H has explicit time independence. No, this is also not correct, because this is the Hamilton's canonical equations, and these two equations always correct. This is not the two equations, but this always correct, okay. That Qi dot is equal to del H del Pi and Pi dot is equal to minus del H del. This is the Hamilton's canonical equation, and this can be derived when the H has the explicit time dependence, that is Pi Qi and T. So this is correct, but here said that not valid, okay. This is correct, but here said that not valid. So this will not be the answer also. And the question D, that is any initial volume element in phase space remains unchanged in magnitude under time evolution. So this will also be correct. This also be correct, because this is the direct consequence of Liouville's theorem. This is the direct consequence of Liouville's theorem, okay, that the phase space volume remains unchanged with time. So this will be correct, but this will not be correct, because this is also not always correct. Here given that the different phase trajectories cannot intersect each other. This is also not the general statement. We know in classical physics that phase trajectories, any phase trajectory cannot intersect each other. We know this, that phase trajectory cannot intersect each other, but different phase trajectories can intersect sometimes, okay. So there is a lot of debate on this expression, on this statement, but because here the statement is not clear actually. Different phase trajectories cannot intersect each other. That means this is the general statement, you can say that different phase trajectories cannot intersect each other anywhere. If we draw a phase trajectory, then it cannot intersect each other, it will mean it. But actually there is some case in phase space dynamics, you can see that sometimes if you saw the phase trajectories, then you can see that sometimes they are intersect, okay. So this is not the general statement, but ideally in classical physics we have seen that always two trajectories cannot intersect each other, but in more general case if you see, then they are intersect each other. There are some examples. I am not given the example here, you will see the examples on the theory part of phase space dynamics, okay, or if you see the phase space trajectories, then you can see in nonlinear dynamics. But this statement is correct, because this is the direct consequence of Liouville's theorem. So if I agree that this statement is correct, but this is more correct here, option D, so we should take the most appropriate answer. So in that respect, D will be the correct answer, okay, D will be the correct answer. So now let me move to the next question. Here is the question. The Lagrangian of a particle of charge E and mass m in applied electric and magnetic field is given by L is equal to half mv square plus E into A dot V minus E phi, where A and phi are the vector and scalar potential corresponding to the magnetic and electric fields respectively. Which of the following statement is correct? Again this is a question directly from the theory part, okay. And the first is the canonical conjugate momentum of the particle is given by P is equal to mv. No, this is not correct, because here the Lagrangian is charge particle, so if L is equal to half mv square only, then it will be correct. Okay, so it will not be correct. So it will not be correct. And the second is the Hamiltonian of the particle is given by h is equal to p square by 2m plus e by m into a dot p minus plus e phi. This is also not correct because we know the expression of the Hamiltonian for charged particle, that will be p minus qa, that is here a whole square divided by 2m plus q phi. This type of expression are there. So this will also be not correct. Now L remains unchanged under a gauge transformation of the potentials. Now this is also not correct because we have seen in the theory part that the gauge transformation L is not invariant under gauge transformation. Okay, so L will must be variant. So D will be the correct answer, that under a gauge transformation of the potential L change by total time derivative. Okay, so this will be the correct answer. Option D is correct here also. Okay, now let's move to the next question. Here is the question. Okay, this is the question from special theory of relativity, that consider the decay process tau negative is equal to pi minus plus nu tau in the rest frame of tau minus. The masses of the tau minus, pi minus and nu tau are m tau, m pi and 0 respectively. Okay, so what will be the energy of pi minus and what will be the velocity of pi minus? Okay, so now let me solve this question starting from here. First part, let me solve the first part. So here the decay process is tau minus to pi minus plus nu tau. Okay, and the rest mass of nu tau or nu, simply you can say, is 0. So you can say m nu is equal to 0 given, and others the rest mass are m pi and m tau. Okay, and the decay process is here tau minus to pi minus plus nu tau. Now first we have to see if any particle A decay into two particles, that is B and C, suppose B and C. Okay, so if this particle initially at rest, then the momentum of this particle, linear momentum of this particle will be 0. So P will be 0. So final momentum should be 0. So the resultant momentum of B and C will must be 0. That means that is only possible if B and C move opposite to each other with same momentum. So the momentum of B and C should be equal and opposite. Okay, equal and opposite, because then only this linear momentum conservation is satisfied. So the decay process will be like this, B and C. Okay, so this should move different direction with same momentum. So here the process is same like this. So tau minus is decay into pi minus and nu tau. So the momentum of pi, that is p pi, will be same as the momentum of nu, that is p nu. Okay, this will be same. This is according to the momentum conservation, you can say, according to momentum conservation. Okay, according to momentum conservation. These are equation 1, you can say. Now according to energy conservation, the total energy of tau will be same as the sum of the total energy of pi minus and nu. So total energy, rest means total energy, E tau will be m tau into c square will be equal to the total energy of pi minus and the total energy of nu. Okay, so this should be our equation 2. Okay, let me solve the question on the next blank page. Okay, so here we have one equation is that p pi is equal to p nu. Okay, p pi is equal to p nu, and the other equation is what? M tau into c square. M tau into c square is equal to E pi plus E nu. E pi plus E nu. Okay. Now what will be E pi and what will be E nu? Let me see. E pi is the total relativistic energy, so it will be E pi square. We know from the expression that E square is equal to P square C square plus m naught square C to the power 4. This is the total relativistic energy, we know. So we use this expression. So E pi square is equal to P pi square C square plus m0 means the rest mass of pi. Okay, so it will be m pi square into C to the power 4. Okay, similarly E nu square will be P nu square C square plus m nu square C to the power 4. But I think here is given that m nu is equal to 0. M nu is equal to 0. Rest mass of nu will be 0. So this term will be 0. This term will be 0. Now if we subtract these two, that if we subtract E pi square minus E nu square, E pi square minus E nu square, then what we will get? These two are also cancel out because P pi is equal to P nu. So this will be cancelled out. So this term will survive only. So it will be m pi square C to the power 4, which implies that E pi square minus E nu square, that is a square minus b square, that means a plus b into a minus b, that is E pi plus E nu, okay, into E pi minus E nu, E pi minus E nu, okay, and that is equal to what? M pi, sorry, this will be m pi square and C to the power 4. So what will be the E pi minus E nu? So E pi minus E nu is equal to m pi square C to the power 4 divided by E pi plus E nu, and the value of E pi plus E nu is nothing but this m tau into C square. So it will be divided by m tau into C square. So that will be C square will cancel out. So m pi square C square divided by m tau. Okay, so this will be E pi minus E nu. So let me write it again. That we will get E pi minus E nu is equal to m pi square C square divided by m tau, and E pi plus E nu, we have this is m tau into C square. So now let me add this two. Okay, so E nu will cancel out. So it will be 2 E pi is equal to m pi square divided by m tau plus m tau into C square. So we will get E pi, that is the energy of pi minus, that is equal to m pi square plus m tau square divided by m tau into C square. So this will be the answer. This will be the answer to the first part of the question, that what is the value of energy of pi minus. This is okay, energy of pi minus, that is what? This answer B is the correct, that is m tau square plus m pi square into C square. Yes. Now the next part is, what is the velocity? The velocity of pi minus. So we have to find out on the velocity of pi minus. Okay, so what will be the velocity of pi minus? So here we have the energy of pi minus is E pi is equal to m pi square plus m tau square divided by twice m tau into C square. There is a whole square, no, it's okay. M tau square plus m pi square into C square divided by twice m tau. Okay, so this will be the E pi. Now we know the relativistic energy of this. The relativistic energy, we know that mc square. Okay, mc square is the relativistic energy, and m can be substituted as m0 divided by root 1 minus v square by c square into c square. So this is the relativistic energy. This is also the relativistic energy. So we can write over here m0 as m pi. So m pi into c square divided by root 1 minus v square by c square. Okay. So from this expression we can also find out the v. So c square will be cancelled out. So if we square both sides, then we will get m pi square plus m tau square whole square divided by 2 into m tau into m pi whole square is equal to 1 by 1 minus v square by c square. So it will be 1 minus v square by c square is equal to twice into m tau into m pi whole square divided by m pi square plus m tau square whole square. So v square will be 1 minus this expression, 1 minus twice m tau into m pi whole square divided by m pi square plus m tau square whole square into c square Okay. So we can find that v is equal to, from here we can find that v is equal to, okay, this will be the correct answer. Okay, as this is c square, if we take the square root, then we will get, okay, we will get this expression, that is m pi square minus m tau square divided by m pi square plus m tau square whole square, okay, into c whole square into c. I think it will not be whole square will not be there. M pi square minus m tau square, yes, this whole square will not be there because we will take the square root of v. Okay, so it will be m pi square minus m tau square divided by m pi square plus m tau square into c. So a will be correct answer. Okay, so this is how we can solve this problem. This is a very important question. Now let me see the next question and the last question of this year. Okay, 2011. So the question is, the Hamiltonian of a particle of unit mass moving in the xy plane is given to h is equal to x px minus y py minus half x square plus half y square in suitable units, and the initial values are given to x of 0, y of 0 is equal to 1, 1, px 0 and py of 0 is half, minus half. During the motion, the curves traced out by the particle in the xy plane and px py plane. Okay, so we have to find out the trajectory of motion in xy plane and px py plane. So we have to find out the relation between xy, okay, and the relation between px py. We have to find out these two relations. If we find out the relation between x and y and px and py, then we can say that what is the curve path that the trajectory of motion will follow. Okay, so now let me start with this expression. So we have to first use the Hamilton canonical equation. Okay, and what are the Hamilton canonical equation? Let me see. Okay, so let me solve this problem from here. So we know from Hamilton's canonical equation that pi dot is equal to del h by del qi negative, and qi dot is equal to del h over del pi. Okay, so these two are the expression of Hamilton's canonical equation. Okay, one is Pi dot is equal to minus del H del Qi and another is Qi dot is equal to del H del Pi. Let me check the equation first. Okay, it's correct. If this is not correct, then the total calculation will be wrong. Okay, I think this is correct. The Py dot is equal to minus del H del Qi and Qi dot is equal to del H divided by del Pi. Okay, Pi dot will be negative. So now this is here the variables. This is q is the generalized coordinate. Q represents here the generalized coordinate. So Qi means the number of generalized coordinate given on the problem, and here the number of generalized coordinate is 2. We can see x and y only. So I goes from x to y, x and y 2 only. 2 coordinate are there only. Okay. So Qi represent here for this problem x and y, these 2 coordinate. So Pi will also represent Px and Py. So the 4 equation we can get. 4 equation. Okay. One is 2 equation from this and 2 equation from this. So now if we talk about the x coordinate, then there will be Px dot is equal to minus del H by del x. Okay, and for this expression we will get x dot is equal to del H by del Px. Similarly we get for y, that is Py dot is equal to minus del H by del y, and y dot is equal to del H by del Py. This 4 equation we can get, and we will have to find out the relation between xy and Px Py. Okay. So now let me see what is the Hamiltonian that is given here. Okay, the Hamiltonian H. Let me write the Hamiltonian H over here. Here H is xpx minus ypy, xpx minus ypy minus half x square plus half y square, minus half x square plus half y square. This is the Hamiltonian given. Okay. So let me find first del H over del x. So what will be del H over del x? So del H over del x will be, from this expression we can see that it will only be Px, and here minus x, that is x, derivative of x is 2x, so 2x 2 will be cancelled out, so x. So it will be Px minus x, because derivative of x is 1. So it will be Px minus x, and that is equal to minus Px dot, because del H by del x is minus Px dot. So that is will be equal to minus Px dot. So we will get Px dot is equal to what? Minus Px plus x. So it will be Px dot plus Px is equal to x. This is our equation 1. Similarly, if we take here this del H del Px, then del H del Px will be what? Only x. Del H del Px is x. The derivative of Px with respect to Px will be 1 and others are 0. There is no Px in the expression. So it will be x only. And this x will be equal to x dot here given. X dot. So x dot is equal to x is the other equation here. Now here also we will get 2 equations. One is from del H del y. Now what will be del H del y? Del H del y is nothing but minus Py, is minus Py, and here from only y, and that too is equal to minus Py dot, because del H del y is equal to minus Py dot. So Py dot will be Py minus y. So Py and minus y, if we take this minus sign here, so it will be plus and minus. So Py dot will be this So py dot minus py is equal to minus y. This is your equation 3, you can say. And again another expression from this y dot, del h del py, and del h del py is equal to what? Minus y only. So y dot is equal to minus y is another expression. Y dot is equal to minus y is the another expression. Okay, just a minute. Y dot is equal to minus y is the another expression. Okay, so now what will be the thing? So this is our expression 4, and let me send a message. Okay, please wait. Time is over. So here this is y dot is equal to minus y and y dot is equal to minus y, and another is these two equation. So from this equation x dot is equal to x, we can find that dx by dt is equal to x. Okay, so if dx over dt is equal to x, then it will be dx over x is equal to dt. So if we take integration both side, then it will be ln x is equal to t, so t plus c. Okay, now if we see the boundary condition, here is given that at x t is equal to 0, x and y both are 1. Okay, so we have c is equal to 0. So if x is equal to 1 at t is equal to 0, the 1 is equal to 0 plus c, that implies that c is equal to 0. So from this expression we will get ln x is equal to t, ln x is equal to t, that is x is equal to e to the power t only. Ln x is equal to t means x is equal to e to the power t. Similarly, from this expression we can get that dy by dt is equal to minus y, that means dy by y is equal to minus dt. So from this expression we can get y is equal to e to the power minus t. If we use the same boundary condition that at t equal to 0, y is equal to 0, so y is equal to e to the power minus t. And if we multiply these two x and y, so we will get e to the power t into e to the power minus t. So it will be what? E to the power t into the is 1. So xy is equal to 1. So the relation between x and y is nothing but xy is equal to 1. So it will be the hyperbola. It will be hyperbola. So xy plane, the trajectory will be hyperbola. Now to determine the px py plane, we have to solve this equation 1 and equation 3. Equation 1 and equation 3 we have to solve. Okay, so now let me solve this two equation also. We have px dot plus px is equal to x, and we know x is equal to what? E to the power t. So we have to write over here dpx by dt plus px is equal to e to the power t. Now if we find the integrating factor here, integrating factor, that is if will be e to the power integration dt here. So it will be e to the power t, this will be the integrating factor. So the solution will be px into e to the power t is equal to integration e to the power t into e to the power t dt plus c. So it will be integration e to the power 2t dt plus c, that will be half into e to the power 2t plus c, that will be the px into e to the power t. Again if we apply this boundary condition that at t is equal to 0, what? Px is equal to half. So if we put that at t is equal to 0, px is equal to half, so what will be the thing? This px will be half into e to the power 0 means 1 is equal to here also e to the power 0 1, so half plus c. So here also we can find that c is equal to 0. So if c is equal to 0, then px will be what? Px will be only e to the power t by 2. Okay. Similarly, we can find out py also from the other equation. And what the equation? Equation is this. That is py dot minus py is equal to minus 1. So let me solve this also. That is py dot minus py is equal to minus 1. Now if we take this is dpy by dt minus py is equal to minus y is equal to e to the power minus t. Now if we find the integrating factor over here, if that will be integration minus e to the power minus dt, that will be e to the power minus t. So the solution will be py into e to the power minus t is equal to integration minus e to the power minus t into e to the power minus t plus c. Okay, so it will be minus e to the power minus 2t dt plus c. So py into e to the power minus t. So if we solve this, we will get py into e to the power minus t is equal to half into e to the power minus 2t. Okay, and that will give you plus c. Okay, now again we have seen from this expression that here is also a boundary condition that at t is equal to 0. So here is the is py dot minus py is equal to minus y. Okay, py dot, so we have px is equal to the power t by 2 and py is equal to, so it will be py if at t is equal to 0, py is equal to minus half, and I think this will be also minus half. Okay, minus half e to the power minus 2t it should be. Okay, it should be minus half because y is, I think there is some mistake. Okay, and the mistake is from here. Okay, because this will be py plus y, should be py dot is equal to y plus py. Yes, minus half x square plus x px minus y py. So it will be py dot is equal to y plus py. Py dot is equal to y plus py minus y. So I think if py is minus half, this will be q into if, that is e to the power minus t. Okay, integration q into if, oh this will be minus sign. Okay, here will be minus sign, here will be minus sign. Okay, q into if, so it will minus plus, so it will be minus, so it will be minus half into e to the power minus 2t plus. Okay, so at t is equal to 0, this is, so we can find that at t is equal to 0, p is equal to half minus py is equal to minus half, so it will be minus half into e to the power minus t is equal to minus half into e to the power minus 2t plus c. So here minus half will cancel out. At t is equal to 0, at t is equal to 0, it will be minus half is equal to minus half plus c. Okay, so we need to not write at t is equal to 0, this is c. Okay, so it will be c is equal to 0. So we can find that py is equal to minus half into e to the power minus t. So py will be minus e to the power minus t by 2 and px will be e to the power minus t by e to the power t by 2. So if we multiply these two, that is px into py, it will be minus 1 by 4. This will again a constant. Okay, so we will get two relation, that is xy is equal to constant 1 first, and then we will get px into py is equal to constant, that is minus 1/4, that is also constant. So this is also hyperbola and this is also hyperbola. So both the cases it will be hyperbola. So both hyperbola. So this will be the answer. Okay, xy will also be constant and px into py will also be constant. So in xy plane as well as in px py plane, okay, both are hyperbola. Okay. So thank you. In the next video we will discuss the questions asked in 2011 December. Okay, thank you.